Every time you walk across your bedroom floor,
Mm-hmm.
you might actually be unknowingly operating a completely toxic microscopic grinding factory.
Yeah, right under your feet.
Right. And the main culprit is likely the very thing that's keeping your feet warm right now.
Mm.
So today we are doing a deep dive to uncover this hidden daily health hazard happening right inside our homes and, figuring out how a practically free wardrobe change can just shut the whole operation down.
I mean, we spend so much energy obsessing over the smog or the exhaust and the pollen outside our windows. We tend to view our homes as this safe fortress against the dirty world.
Exactly like a sanctuary.
Right. But the reality of modern indoor environments completely flips that standard understanding of where pollution even originates.
So to get to the bottom of this, we are pulling from a really fascinating journal entry and piece of writing by Fuchi Wu. It's titled "Don't Wear Shoes Indoors." And this source investigates a startling world of indoor pollution that most of us are totally oblivious to.
Completely oblivious.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because usually when I think of indoor air pollution, I'm picturing, someone burning toast or a draft bringing in exhaust from the street outside. I definitely don't picture my own shoes.
Well, our homes have effectively become these enclosed microplastic factories. Every day, the synthetic materials, so we're talking from our clothes and bedding to our couches, they're all shedding invisible polymer fibers into the air and the dust.
Right.
We are essentially living inside a giant snow globe.
I love that snow globe analogy, but it also sounds a bit terrifying, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little scary, yeah.
Because every time I make the bed or walk across the rug, I am basically shaking that snow globe. But instead of pristine white snow settling down, I'm swirling around millions of microscopic polyester and nylon fibers.
Exactly. And studies consistently show that indoor concentrations of these synthetic microfibers can be significantly higher than outdoor levels. You are entirely enclosed in that environment.
Yeah, there's nowhere for it to go.
Right. The pollution isn't blowing in from outside. It is being actively generated by the friction of you just interacting with your own belongings.
Which brings us to this wildly specific detective work the author of our source material did. Because we are moving from this general idea of this fibrous snow globe to a highly localized bedside epiphany. And this completely shatters how you might view a freshly swept room.
Yeah, so the author happened to live in an environment that accidentally acted as this perfect scientific control room. They had these light beige, highly glossy floor tiles installed.
And because of those really light, shiny tiles, they started noticing this really strange anomaly. Right by the bed, there was a constant accumulation of these visible black specks.
Every single day.
Right, the author would sweep them up, and within a day, the black specks were just back. The floor was acting like this pollution-developing paper, basically forcing an invisible daily process to become completely visible.
And, I mean, in a normal house with dark hardwood floors, or maybe a patterned rug, those specks would just blend right in. The anomaly would go unnoticed for years.
Oh, totally. You'd never see it.
But here, the visual contrast forced the author to actually ask where this localized dirt was coming from.
So they actually flipped over their plastic indoor slippers, the kind of comfortable, rubbery or EVA phone house shoes millions of people wear, and they looked at the soles.
And what did they find?
The soles were visibly wearing down. The black material shedding from the slippers matched the black specks on the floor perfectly.
It is a perfect closed loop of physical evidence. But the critical mechanical question here is why this heavy accumulation was happening specifically in that one spot right next to the bed.
Right, why not the hallway?
Exactly. It isn't a random distribution of dust. The bedside is a high-frequency traffic area, sure, but more importantly, it is a high-friction pivot zone. I mean, think about the physical kinetics of getting out of bed in the morning.
Okay, yeah. You swing your legs over the side, your feet hit the floor, and you push off.
Right. You are applying your full body weight onto a tiny surface area, the soles of those slippers, and then you are twisting your body against a hard, unyielding tile floor to stand up and face the door.
Oh, wow.
You are essentially creating a concentrated shearing force right where you sleep, just scraping that soft plastic against the hard ceramic tile.
I hear the mechanics of that, I do, but I have to push back a little here. A plastic slipper loses a speck or two of material a day. Is that really a massive health hazard? I mean, I have a vacuum cleaner, I have a broom. You see a crumb of plastic, you sweep it up, you toss it in the trash. The thread is gone, isn't it?
What's fascinating here is that the visible crumb is actually the absolute least of your worries.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The true danger isn't the initial speck of plastic on the floor. It is what happens to that speck over the next few days if it isn't immediately removed by wet mopping. Standard sweeping or a quick vacuum actually accelerates the danger.
Wait, vacuuming makes it worse. How is cleaning up the speck making it more dangerous?
Because we have to break down the microplastic cycle, which is essentially this mechanical deconstruction process. Let's trace the journey of a single black speck.
Okay, let's track it.
Step 1, the slipper drops a relatively large, visible crumb of material onto the hard floor. Step 2, because humans are creatures of habit, we walk the exact same pathways in our homes every single day.
Oh yeah, from the bed to the door, from the door to the bathroom sink, we have these invisible highways on our floors.
Right, so you step on that exact spot again, pressing that plastic crumb between a hard shoe sole and a hard tile floor.
It's like your home is a giant mortar and pestle. The hard tile floor is the mortar. Your body weight on the plastic shoe is the pestle, and you are just unknowingly grinding your own footwear into this fine powder.
That mortar and pestle analogy perfectly captures the sheer mechanical force at play here. If you only deep clean that specific spot with a wet mop, say, once a week, that initial piece of plastic is subjected to hundreds of crushing and grinding actions.
Right, because you're stepping on it, twisting on it, sliding over it every day.
Exactly. Over a 7-day period, that visible black speck doesn't just sit there. It is completely obliterated into hundreds of thousands of microscopic fragments.
So the mortar and pestle just keeps grinding the material down smaller and smaller.
Yes.
But going back to my vacuum argument, if I run a standard vacuum over that area, aren't I just sucking up the powder?
Well, a standard vacuum will easily grab the large, visible crumbs, but once that plastic has been ground down into invisible nanodust, standard household vacuum filters really struggle to trap it.
Oh no, so it just goes right through.
Yes. The vacuum sucks up the invisible dust, it passes right through the standard filter, and the machine's exhaust blows those freshly milled nanoplastics forcefully back into the air.
So my regular cleaning routine might just be an airborne distribution system for pulverized shoe dust. That's great.
Without a high-efficiency particulate filter, often called a HEPA filter, that is exactly what happens. But honestly, even without a vacuum, the physical transformation of the plastic is the real problem.
Because it's getting so small.
Right. Once the material reaches that microscopic, nanoscale size, it is no longer bound by gravity in the same way a visible crumb is. It is so incredibly light that normal daily actions just sweep this dust right up into the air.
Like the draft of a ceiling fan or maybe the AC kicking on.
Even simpler than that, really. Fluid dynamics dictates that the sheer act of walking creates a wake of air behind you.
Just walking.
Just walking. As you move across the room, the air turbulence you generate lifts these invisible, freshly ground plastic shards off the floor and suspends them directly in your breathing zone.
Which is what, like 4 to 6 feet off the ground?
Exactly, right where you're inhaling.
So you are literally breathing in the pulverized remains of your own shoes just by pacing around your bedroom. That is a wildly unsettling image.
It really is.
But now that we understand the mechanics of how the soles of our shoes actually get into our airspace, we need to talk about why that matters. I mean, inhaling anything other than air isn't great, but what makes inhaling ground-up synthetic polymers uniquely dangerous compared to, say, just normal dirt?
Well, the medical and toxicological realities of inhaling synthetic nanoplastics are, they're complex. We need to look at what happens physiologically when these manufactured particles enter the body.
Okay.
It's not just that plastic is inherently toxic in the way we think of, like, lead paint. The issue is that once these nanoplastics bypass your respiratory defenses and enter the highly complex chemical environment of your bloodstream and soft tissues, they trigger this massive physical and chemical chaos.
Because the human body doesn't exactly have an evolutionary blueprint for dealing with a microscopic shard of EVA foam, right?
Precisely. The immune system immediately detects a foreign invader. It sends specialized cells, called macrophages, to essentially eat and destroy the threat.
Like little Pac-Man.
Like little Pac-Man, yeah. But the human body lacks the enzymes to break down synthetic polymers. So the macrophage tries to digest the plastic, completely fails, and often just dies in the process, which releases all these inflammatory signals.
So the body just keeps attacking this invincible target.
And that leads to chronic oxidative stress. To put it simply, the tissue surrounding the plastic particle is constantly irritated by these microscopic jagged edges, leading to localized inflammation.
And we know inflammation is bad news.
Very bad news. Over time, chronic inflammation is a known precursor to a whole host of cellular dysfunctions. But here's the thing. The physical irritation is only half the problem. We also have to evaluate the Trojan horse
A
effect.
Trojan horse. Meaning the plastic shard isn't just a physical weapon, it's smuggling something else inside the gates. What exactly is hiding in the plastic?
So microplastics act as highly efficient chemical delivery vehicles. The surface area of a fragmented plastic particle basically acts like a microscopic sponge.
Oh, wow.
As that speck sits on your floor or floats in your air for days or weeks, it is actively absorbing other environmental pollutants that are just present in your home.
Like the chemical off-gassing from fresh paint or maybe the flame retardant sprayed on my couch.
Exactly. It absorbs those volatile organic compounds along with the plasticizers and heavy metals that were already used in the manufacturing of the shoe itself.
Right.
Then, like a Trojan horse, you inhale it. Because the nanoparticle is so incredibly small, it easily crosses deep into lung tissue and potentially straight into the bloodstream.
That's terrifying.
And once it is bathed in the warm fluids of your body, it releases that concentrated payload of absorbed toxins directly into your system.
So it's basically transporting the whole chemical soup of my living room directly into my bloodstream.
Yeah, and many of those absorbed chemicals are known endocrine disruptors.
Okay, let's break that term down because we hear endocrine disruptors a lot in health news. But what does it actually mean here?
Endocrine disruptors are essentially hormone hackers. They are chemicals that mimic natural hormones, like estrogen or testosterone. When they hitch a ride on a plastic shard into your bloodstream, they just start scrambling the delicate chemical signals your body uses to regulate things like metabolism, your mood, reproductive systems, and even cellular growth.
So we are turning our shoes into these invisible sponges that soak up hormone hackers, which we then grind into a powder and inhale.
That sums it up perfectly.
This raises an important question, though. Should we wait for the medical community to map out every single biological failure pathway before we stop this exposure?
Do we need a 20-year longitudinal study to prove exactly which respiratory disease or metabolic disorder this specific brand of slipper causes before we take action?
I would hope not.
Right. The author of our source material argues absolutely not. This is an exercise in preventing failure before it happens. When you see a clear, undeniable mechanical process generating toxic material in your personal space, you eliminate the mechanism.
So what does this all mean for us? We know the hard floor acts like a mortar. The plastic slipper is the pestle, and we are breathing in the toxic Trojan horse dust it creates. How do we pivot from this scary toxicological reality to a practical solution? Do I need to, rip out my tile floors and install a $1,000 hospital-grade air purification system?
Not at all. If the goal is a true low-pollution environment, throwing expensive technology at the problem is incredibly inefficient. You don't buy a bigger machine to clean up a mess that you are actively creating.
Right, you shut down the factory.
Exactly. You stop the generation of the pollution at its source.
And the practical fix the author proposes is almost laughably simple. They decided to completely ditch indoor plastic slippers on hard floors. No more rubber, no more EVA foam, no more synthetic polymer soles.
Gone.
The replacement. Cheap, pure cotton socks.
It is such an elegant, low-tech intervention. The source specifically evaluates the surprising efficacy of cheap, Chinese-made military cotton socks as a replacement for house shoes.
Military socks. That's specific.
It is. But the author found they had excellent sweat absorption for comfort, and crucially, the specific weave of these military-style socks provide just enough friction that they didn't slip dangerously on those highly glossy tiles.
Okay, let me stop you there, because earlier we established the snow globe effect. We talked about how fibers from clothes and blankets are swirling around in the air. Don't cotton socks also shed when you rub them against a hard floor? Aren't we just trading a plastic dust factory for a cotton dust factory?
That's a great question. Any material subjected to the immense friction of human body weight against a hard floor is going to shed. But we must synthesize the structural differences between the materials here.
Okay.
Pure cotton socks shed long, natural cotton fibers. They do not shed irregular, hardened plastic nanoshards.
So the physical shape and the biological compatibility of the material make the difference.
Exactly. A natural cotton fiber is relatively large and heavy compared to a fragmented nanoplastic. Because of its mass, a cotton fiber settles to the ground much faster. It doesn't just hover endlessly in the breathing zone waiting to be inhaled.
That makes sense.
Furthermore, a cotton fiber responds totally differently to the mortar and pestle effect.
All right, so when I step on a piece of cotton fuzz on my tile floor, what happens physically compared to the plastic crumb?
The cotton fiber simply flattens. It compresses. It does not shatter and shear into 1,000 microscopic jagged pieces the way a hardened polymer does under all that pressure.
And I imagine because the cotton fiber stays relatively large and doesn't shatter into nanodust,
Yeah.
a standard, affordable air purifier or even just a normal vacuum cleaner can actually catch it.
Readily. The filters are designed for larger particulate matter like hair, skin cells, and natural fibers.
Right, they can actually do their job.
Yeah. But there is another, arguably more powerful, mechanical advantage to the cotton sock solution, which the author calls the daily reset.
The daily reset, that refers to the laundry cycle, right? Because you change and wash socks daily.
Think about the life cycle of a standard plastic indoor slipper. It stays in the room, grinding away on the floor for months, sometimes years.
Oh yeah, you never watch those.
Right. It never leaves the environment it is actively polluting. It is a permanent fixture of friction. But with a cotton sock, you wear it for a single day, and then you peel it off and throw it in a washing machine.
You are physically transporting a whole day's worth of shed skin, accumulated floor dust, and loose fibers completely out of the bedroom.
Out of the room entirely.
You are exporting the potential pollution before it ever has a chance to accumulate, get ground down, and become airborne.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, true clean living isn't about constantly chasing dirt with a vacuum cleaner or running a HEPA filter on the maximum setting 24 hours a day.
Right.
It is about fundamentally auditing your environment to stop the generation of pollution at the source.
Right.
It is about looking at your daily habits and asking if a specific tool or item is secretly creating a hazard that you then have to labor to clean up.
It is a profound shift in perspective. You hold the power to control the air quality in your most intimate spaces. Your respiratory health and your cellular function are vastly more important than, clinging to a pair of cheap plastic slippers just out of habit. You can drastically improve your indoor air quality today by simply changing what you put on your feet. Stop grinding the plastic into the floor. Stop inhaling the soles of your shoes.
It perfectly illustrates how a zero-tech, low-cost intervention can completely interrupt a major cycle of indoor toxicity.
It really does. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over as you look around your home today. We have just established that simply walking in plastic slippers is enough force to grind microscopic toxic plastics into the air you breathe.
Right.
So, what else in your home is slowly being milled into the air through daily friction? Think about the hard plastic wheels on your office chair rolling over a hard floor back and forth 8 hours a day while you work.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or think about the friction of cheap plastic hinges on your cabinets, or the rubber stoppers on the bottom of your dining chairs dragging across the tile every time you sit down to eat.
Yeah.
Are we surrounding ourselves with invisible friction points that we are slowly, unknowingly breathing into our lungs?
It's definitely something to think about.
Keep an eye on the friction in your life. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We will see you next time.